Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. Today we have an amazing problem for you guys. We're going to be talking about first unique character in a string, right? So this is a very good one. So let's see what it's all about, right? So it says given a string S, right? Find the first non-repeating character in it and return its index, right? If it does not exist, return -1, right? So pretty easy problem statement so far, right? So a simple string, right? And then we need to just return the first non-repeating character, right? So the first unique character, right? Right. That's basically what they're asking us, right? The first one that we encounter that's unique, we return it, guys, right? That's kind of what they're asking for, right? So let's go through a couple of examples. I think it'll help us to solidify the ask, right? So it's always good to go through examples, right? So we have a pretty example LeetCode. Okay, pretty simple. So we need just to return the first non-repeating character that we see, right? Okay, obviously the first one that we see is L, right? Because there's only one L, right? And even though there are others, other letters that are other characters, right, that are unique, right, non-repeating, but they appear at a later index than the L, right? So that's why we end up returning L, right? Because that's the first unique character that we encounter, right? We return it right away. And the second example is kind of the same thing, right? Now you have love LeetCode, right? So L is no longer unique because of this L right here, right? So V ends up being the first unique character that we have in the string, right? O as another O, right? Which is you know what I'm saying, which makes it repeating. So it's not unique, right? And for this one, right, all the characters here are repeating, right? So A as a B as a B, right? So we end up returning -1, right? So hopefully, the examples kind of, helped you understand what kind of ask is for, right? And kind of, so start thinking about algorithms, right, that we need to come up with to solve this, right? So, like you guys know, we love starting off with the most intuitive solution, right? Without being clever or trying to be slick or just straight up intuition, right? So, to easily do it, right? So we know that we need to loop through the string, right? We need to do some kind of loop, right? And as we're looping through, guys, right, what we can probably do is, so for each character, right, remember we're doing brute force, right, for each character, we're just, because we need to, so how do we know if a character is unique, right? If it doesn't have another occurrence of it, all right, in the remaining string, right? And the rest of the string, right, then we know that this character is unique, right? So we would do a double for loop, right? For each character, we check the remaining string, right? The remaining string, right? And we check character by character to see if there exists any other of that character in the rest of the string, right? If we do not have that, right, then we know that this character is unique, right? Can return it right away, guys, right? And also double for loop, right? For each character, we check the remainder of the array for the occurrence of that letter, and then we return that the first one that we encounter that we don't find any more occurrence of it, right, in the rest of the array, right? Then we could say that, right? But that's not too efficient, guys, right? Especially for long strings, guys, right? This would not be efficient at all. It would be n squared, guys, right? So this double for loop is not going to work out, and your interviewer most likely is not going to accept this kind of a solution, right? So we got to be a little bit more clever and more slick with it, right? So what I'm thinking, what we could do is to maybe so could kind of bring down the time complexity a little bit, right? Maybe introduce some kind of a data structure, right? It's kind of one of the common techniques that we normally use, right? Those kind of problems, guys, right? We reduce the time complexity, we introduce a data structure to kind of help us, right? So um maybe we could introduce some kind of since we need to know the occurrences of the different characters, right, maybe we could do one pass, right, guys, right, just keeping track of the occurrences of each character, right? Okay, so and that's going to help us out, right? Once we do that, we do one pass, right? You just build the whatever data structure we end up choosing, right, to have the to keep track of the each occurrence, right, of the characters. And we do one pass, we get that pieces of data, right? And then we could loop through that, data structure that we just built, right? That contains the different all the occurrences of each character, right? And we loop through and for the first one, right? So we loop through character no. So we loop through all the character in the string, right? So we need to loop through character in the string because we need to return the first one, right? So we check for how many L's do we have, right? We just check our data structure that we just built, right? We like, all right, cool. There's one. Then we know that this is the first unique one, guy, right? That's what we end up returning right away, right? So the data structure of choice to quickly get the occurrence of a particular character, right? And the lowest amount of time of complexity that we can get, right? Is we preferably we want it all one, right? Instead of all n, right? So the data structure of choice, I'm just saying it, guys. There's a map, right? That's what we're going to use to the key will be the character and the value would be the occurrence of it, right? So let's do a quick example. I think it'll be even more clear than what I'm saying, right? So we just have a simple example here, guys, right? So the approach is that we build, right? So we end up building uh pretty much a map that contains, right, the frequency, right, the occurrence of each character in the string, guys, right? So we um uh build that up, right? That pieces that that data structure, the map is going to contain all that, right? We'll build that up, and after that, we just do another loop to just get the another loop through the string, right? And check for each character how many times have you occurred uh in the string, right? If you occurred once, then we know that, and the first one we encounter, we just return it right away, right? So that's kind of how it would be. Pretty simple as that, guys, right? Instead of having to loop through over and over, right? We just do one pass, build the data structure up, and then we um, do another loop to just get the first character in the string, right? Going from left to right that we encountered that has the occurrence of one, and then we're good, right? So yeah, so I went up and built it up, right? Now we have a map, right? So the map contains the frequency of each character, right? So how many times it occurred, right? And the string, guys, right? So now that we have that, right? So this would cost us, we have to do all that, right? We have to loop through and get that information, right? And once we do that, we loop through the string, guys, right? Right. So for each character, we check, right? So we check L, right? Does how many times has that occurred in the string, right? Happened 2 times, right? But that's not good. Right? We go on to the next one, right? We check how many times has O occurred 2 times. Okay, that's not unique. How many times has V occurred, right? 1 time. Then that's my first unique character in the string. Even though there are other unique characters in the string, but it happened at a later time, right? A later index. Then V occurred, right? So that's why we end up returning V as the answer, right? Which is index 2, guys, right? So the thing is as simple as that, guys, right? So let's quickly get into the code. I think the code will be even simpler than this, right? So let's get some space to work. So we have a map, right? Which is a map that will be, mapping each character to its frequency, right? So integer, guys, right? Pretty simple so far. Now we're going to do a linear loop through the string, guys, right? To just build the hash map up, right? So we could have the mapping, right, of the occurrence of each character in the string, guys, right? So that's what we're going to do here, right? So a simple linear loop through the string, guys, right? To just get the information that we need. Okay. I plus plus. And what we're going to do here, we're just char C. That's that char at I. So we're just going to put in the map that we put that character. That getter default. So C 0 plus 1. Okay, now that we have that, so now we build the hash map, right? Now we have the occurrence of each character, right? So we have that information, right? Instead of having to loop through the array over and over again, right? The string over and over, right? We just loop through once, get the information we need. And now once we're going to be looping it the second time, right? We're going to check, has that character occurred, right? Only once. It has occurred only once. Then we can automatically return right away, guys, its index, right? Because we're going from left to right, right? We're starting from the beginning of the string to the end of the string, guys, right? We return the first character that we see that an occurrence of exactly 1, right? So, right? So that's kind of, we could do that, right? So if we never encounter a character that has that occur only once, guys, right? That means all the characters must have occurred more than one time. So for those cases, we're going to return -1, guys, right? So it's a very pretty easy, very good problem to start with, right? To get your confidence, right? So they could have switched the requirements saying find the last character, that the last unique character, right? We just look in reverse, guys, right? So it will be the same concept, guys, right? So yeah, so that's kind of what it is. So if you guys enjoyed this video, guys, kind of understood the logic that I explained, let me know in the comment section. If you guys in, like, you're here, make sure to subscribe, because we'll be doing a lot of other videos just like this one. So I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.